So today we're going to be using two bands to do a two band workout for our arms and shoulder. So working the tricep, bicep, and deltoid muscle. So we're going to be doing a circuit of 3 exercises all together. That means we're going to be starting at exercise 1, 2, and 3, and then going back to 1 again, and repeating that as many times as we can. I'm going to try for about 4, because the more times we repeat an exercise, the larger that muscle grows, the more growth we get in that muscle, because muscle size is really about how many times you can repeat an exercise in a week. It's called exercise volume. So I'm trying to really do a high volume workout. If you're looking to join me on that on my fitness journey, if you want to get larger muscles, stronger muscles, and live just feel better about yourself, feel better in how you move, then hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this. So we're gonna go ahead and start out. I already warmed up, but I will show you the exercises because we had a little bit of a technical problem. So our first exercise is going to be a tricep extension, an overhead tricep extension. What I'm gonna do is put my hand, step onto the band with one foot at one end. So stepping onto the band with one foot, and then the other hand is right behind my head. So starting from here, straightening out up to the ceiling, and then back down. So I'm really emphasizing that tricep muscle in the back of my arm. I'm bringing my elbow up, which stretches that tricep, puts it under high tension as I'm working that tricep muscle in a overhead extension. Now, I like this variation because it gets the same advantage as the skull crusher, where the elbow is high, putting that tricep under high tension. I find that this is actually a little bit better for me personally, hitting that tricep muscle. I feel like I can get better engagement on it. I've been doing this one for the past couple times, and same thing on the other side. Going here, hand behind the head. Now on this, instead of grabbing the handle, I like to grab the fabric part of it because I find it's a little bit easier than holding onto this handle trying to twist. So grabbing the fabric, going right behind the head, and going up towards the ceiling. Now you should feel the tension through that entire movement. What I like with the bands is it's really easy to do a warm-up set where you're doing the same exercise, warming up that muscle. You just use one level down on the band. Now, with any hypertrophy workout, we want to lift until the muscle feels tired. That I try and aim for about 10 reps, but today I'm gonna go at higher reps, just going until I feel tired in that muscle. So our second exercise is going to be a bicep curl. You're gonna step right in the middle of the band so it's even on both sides, and then it doesn't matter which foot, then you're gonna put both elbows against your rib cage, so you don't want them to be sliding around like this, where you're doing like this. You want them tight in and your hands in line with your elbows to the front. So I'm gonna lean back just slightly. I should feel that tension pulling down on my bicep. From here, I'm gonna pull up against that tension and then out to straight. I'm trying to bring my hands out rather than down, and that keeps that tension on the bicep the whole time. So I'm leaning back a little bit, pulling up towards the front. I'm just gonna go for 10 reps, so I shouldn't feel too tired in the muscle yet. Once we get to our working set, and we will do, which is when we start counting, then you go until you feel tired in that muscle. For our warm-up, we're just getting some blood flow into those muscles. So our third and final exercise in our circuit is a lateral raise. I'm using a lighter band for this. What you're gonna do is step one foot in the middle of the band and then cross your hands. So you can see how it's sort of pulling down at an angle, pulling in towards the middle. What that does is it gets even down here, it's pulling in and down, so I get a more effective resistance curve as I pull up to the sides. So for the lateral raise, it's just like you're making a snow angel. You're gonna lift up to the sides and then back down, trying to lift straight out to the sides. I don't wanna come forward with my hands if I can help it. If it's uncomfortable on your shoulder, a little bit of forward is fine. Just find where that is comfortable on your shoulder. But the more out to the side I can get, the more I'm working that middle part of that deltoid that broadens out your shoulder. So lifting up to the side, doing about 10 reps of these. I'm going all the way down to my sides and all the way up. All right, now I'm gonna shift to a heavier band and we're gonna go into our working sets. That means this is where we start counting the number of sets we do. Now so we're starting at the first exercise in our circuit. We're gonna be going through this, trying for 4 sets on each exercise. So for this, I'm going to do a tricep extension until that tricep feels tired. That might be 10 reps, that might be more than 10. But whatever I do, I'm gonna try and match it on both sides. So because of that, I'm gonna start with my weaker side. I'm right-handed. My left arm is pretty even to my right arm in strength, but I'm still gonna start with my left side just in case, because some days you never know what happens, where your dominant side can get ahead of your non-dominant side. So from here, starting with your hand behind your head, straightening out towards the ceiling and then back down. You should feel that tension pulling you down. So going up and down, counting as many reps as you can. Like this variation, getting that elbow high, because the tricep is what's called a biarticulated, which means it works at both the shoulder and at the elbow. So by changing the position at that shoulder, I actually can get more tension into that tricep, which can lead to more growth in the muscle. 14. Okay, 14 was about the right number for me, I think, on that one. Could feel that burning in that tricep. Now, the exact number of reps don't matter, it's just what you feel in the muscle. So for muscle building, it's much more about the feeling you get in the muscle. You feel that burning, you feel that fatigue, that high tension. That's why we're putting that muscle up here, because we want that high tension by lifting the elbow. So if the elbow is down low doing like tricep kickbacks, it's not bad exercise, it just doesn't hit the tricep long head nearly as much. That long, large piece of that tricep muscle in the back of the arm. The right arm is actually definitely stronger than my left. The left I hit 14, the right I could probably do 15 or 16, but I'm gonna keep it even with my left arm. So now, going into a bicep curl. Stepping right in the middle of the band, so it's even on both sides, leaning back slightly so you have tension in that movement. Now, if you feel like the band is a little too long, you can step both feet in or sit underneath something like this and then step back away, leaning back so that you get that tension down at the bottom of the movement. Just make sure whatever you attach it to is secure. The thing that you want is to feel that tension down here. So the band should be tight, shouldn't be slack. So I'm gonna lean back, tuck in my elbows, pulling up to the front of my shoulder, doing that bicep curl straight to the front. You feel that tension in my arm, in my bicep, in that front of the arm right here. I'm just going until I feel tired in that muscle. However many reps that takes. What I like to shoot for is what's called 2 reps in reserve, or 2 RIR. What that means is if I really needed to, I could maybe do 2 more reps where I could lift it up once, twice more. And what that means is I've gotten close to that muscle failure point. I used to go until I just couldn't lift it a single more time. And that's okay. It's okay to know where that level is, but at that point, you're building up so much extra fatigue for a small amount of muscle building more. And that fatigue actually can influence your next workout, where you're not able to get as much out of your next workout. You're not as able to recover from it. So I found for me, it adds a lot more soreness, but not a whole lot more muscle building. So instead of doing it like a sprint where I do right up to the limit each time, I treat this more like a marathon, where it's about how many can I do Monday plus Wednesday plus Friday, rather than going all out on Monday and then missing Wednesday and Friday. And the science supports this in studies that 2 reps in reserve is probably more efficient and better over the long term. So now we're gonna do a lateral raise. I'm gonna cross the dumbbells, or not dumbbells, resistance band handles so that they're pulling in at an angle and lifting up to the sides and back down. Now you want to pick a band that has high enough tension where you feel it working, but not so high that you have to use your shoulders to lift up with this. So it's all, or use your neck rather. So we don't want to use this trap, we want to use this deltoid right here. Up to the sides and back down. I'm keeping my shoulders away from my ears, pushing my chest up. I'm just going until I feel tired in that deltoid muscle. Now, there was this study done, there's been a lot of studies about what's more effective, dumbbells versus resistance band. As far as we can tell, there still is the dumbbells or the free weights are equally effective as bands for growing muscle or building strength, as long as you're matching the same resistance with both. So there might be more nuanced and more information that comes out about that in the future, where we have a more complete understanding of why or where each piece of equipment is the most effective. But at the moment, it's close enough that either is a great option. So if you're looking to build muscle, the important thing is setting up the exercise correctly with bands. But if you do that, where you have that tension through the whole movement, so grabbing here, right behind your head, working that tricep muscle in the back of your arm, straightening out towards the ceiling. Either way, we can have a great workout. And the thing I like about bands is they're a lot more accessible to more people. A set of bands costs usually $30 to $40. I think I paid somewhere around $35 for these, and they're much more, so they're much more flexible, and you can carry them with you, you can travel with them, and they take less space to store as well. So if you're in an apartment or someplace where you don't have as much room, they can be a great option. I'm gonna stop there. The important thing is though, you're going until you feel tired in that muscle. So if you're not getting that tension, getting that fatigue in the muscle, nothing is gonna really work at all. So that's the whole thing, is we wanna go until that muscle feels that burn, feels that pulling on it, and that's what's gonna help build that muscle. This is our second set, so we're halfway there almost. Trying to keep that elbow high. So if the elbow is down here, if I was doing this with my tricep, I've actually shortened that muscle and limited how much it can actually grow. So that's why we do this with the band. I will say something with the bands that's a lot harder is doing anything overhead. Those are easier to set up for that, but the bands still can work like what we're doing here, where we do one side at a time. It's still possible to do. You just have to know how to set it up. It's taking me a long time to figure out some exercises, because you have to think a little bit about each of the exercises with the bands, how that force is going to be applied, and how to set it up effectively. This one, with the bicep curl, I used to do it with like this, and then pulling up, and I lose all tension down here at the bottom, where it's actually most beneficial for muscle growth. So you can see the band, when I get down here, it basically just goes slack, where I have almost zero tension in the band. And that's not good, especially for muscles like the bicep, the hamstrings, the quads, or the rectus femoris, and muscles that are what are called biarticulating, where they go across two joints. Like the bicep is that goes across the elbow and the shoulder. So that means that stretch of the muscle really emphasizes that muscle growth. It creates a much higher amount of tension. So that's why I want to do it like this, where I have one foot forward as much as I can, or I'm leaning back away from it, or both, so that I create tension. So it should feel that pull of the band down here at the very bottom of the movement. Going here, pulling up to the front and back down. If you imagine an arrow running along the band, that arrow should be pointing down and away from the direction that you're moving. So exactly opposite of that movement. I'm leaning back because it actually creates more of that extension at the shoulder to do this movement, which puts more stretch on the top part of that bicep. Now, an advantage with tube bands is they tend to have a lot more length to them. So you're able to do things like the lateral raise with two hands at a time. The loop bands where it's a big loop. The booty bands or the strength or power bands, they're okay for it, but it tends to be harder to work both sides at the same time. That's one of the reasons I like the tube bands instead. A lot of these exercises you can do multiple sides of this, or both sides at the same time. So stepping right in the middle of the band, lifting out to the sides, working that deltoid muscle in the top of your shoulder. The other advantage of the tube is it pulls in where you can really choose which direction the tension is pulling. So for this, I find I get a better deltoid movement from this, where I can really feel that even down here, I feel that pull in where my deltoid really has to engage through the entire movement. As the higher up I go, the more likely it is the traps are that those muscles in the top of your neck are going to engage. So if I can get down here, get tension in that muscle, that's much more effective for me, at least, on how that deltoid engages. I feel like there's a better movement. Now, I will say that they tested doing cables versus dumbbells and found they're about the same. I would say that the bands are probably pretty similar to cables, so you're at least getting as effective of an exercise with these bands as you would be with dumbbells. For me personally, I find that I subjectively feel that muscle more. I have a better mind-muscle connection with the bands. There's evidence to say that having a better connection, mind-muscle connection to the muscle, is better for the muscle growth. We're going into set number 3. We've got 4 sets to do total in this circuit. We're just looping as much as we can, because each set is more muscle growth stacked on top of more muscle growth. So it's more tiring to do, it takes a little more time, but if you want to grow muscle faster, this is the way to do it. I used to think that 1 set was enough to grow all my muscle, and I was actually just really slowing down how fast I could grow muscle by doing that. I found, for me, there was a lot of aspects of my exercise fitness journey that were not really well optimized. The exercise was one part of it. The other parts were my sleep, especially, was not good. I was only sleeping about 4 or 5 hours a night, and turns out that really makes it hard to recover soreness from working out, and it influences how much testosterone and muscle building hormones you have in your body. So now I try and emphasize my sleep, getting consistently going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, having enough magnesium in my diet, because I found that made a big difference in how well I sleep, which also has a big effect on my workout. When I wouldn't sleep well, I found it was really hard to know how I was feeling during a workout, where I would go actually so hard. I would push myself so hard, and I just couldn't feel the pain of doing it, which some people would be like, oh man, a pain-free workout? That sounds great. Trust me, pain is there for a reason. If your body doesn't know it's in pain, that you can really injure yourself badly. I actually have had a number of injuries from that. I actually have torn a bone in my knee because I was working out so hard and so much that this bone, where the quads come down and attach, actually pulled off. It's called Osgood-Schlatters disease. And I was working so hard as a young teen that I pulled apart my bone. It's having those signals, paying attention to those signals are really important. All that came from not managing my body well. So now I really try and dial it in on those 3, what I call the 3 pillars. Exercise being one pillar, sleep being another pillar, and nutrition being a 3rd pillar. I think you can't miss out on any of those 3. You can do the exercise really well, but if you don't have your sleep, you don't have your nutrition, it's not gonna matter nearly as much. We'll get those 3 right, and then you'll actually be able to make progress. Now we're gonna do a bicep curl, Leaning back away from the band so it pulls even down here, feeling that tension pulling me down. So I'm not going down as much as I'm going out towards the front. So straightening out those hands out towards the front. So I'm keeping that tension on the bicep the whole time. So if you're liking this content and want to see more, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I do all of my workouts on stream. So because I want to be genuine and show you what I'm doing to get the results I'm trying to optimize for, building up muscle. So I'm not doing one thing and telling you a different thing. So if you want to be here live to work out with me, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when we go live. So now going into a lateral raise, lifting up to the sides and back down. So on this, I like to do arms and shoulders in my Wednesday workout because I find that my arms recover faster than my chest and back, especially my legs. So I do full body on Monday, Friday, and then arms and deltoid, or arms and shoulder, on Wednesday usually. I'm trying to build up my arms, so I'm trying to maximize how much I'm doing with my arms. So I can feel that right in here fatiguing out, where I am trying to get to where I could maybe lift once or twice more and that's it. So now this is our last set. So I'm trying to go get 4 sets to maximize how much muscle I'm building in my arms. Now you might feel fatigued where the muscles really have nothing left to give. Especially if you're just starting out, don't feel like you have to do 4 sets. You want to do as many as you are able to. So it might be you need to start with 2 sets of an exercise and then build up to 4. For exercises I'm trying to grow, I found for me, 4 is a good number to aim for workouts because that helps my muscles grow. But I will say it hasn't always been that many sets for me, especially with legs. I only do 1 or 2 sets of legs because I found that trying for 4 sets is too much. I get so sore that I'm not recovered by the next workout. For instance, this week, I did 1 set of legs and I'm still sore from Monday. So if I had done 2 or 3, I probably wouldn't be able to work out legs again on Friday. So it depends on, for your individual genetics and your body, finding the number of sets that gets you tired and getting everything you can out of the muscle, but still able to work out again by the next time you need to. So as you get more conditioned, or as you work that muscle as well, your body will become more resilient against higher volume. So increasing the number of sets. Now, if you can't do as many reps on your last set, that is okay. Go until you feel tired on the movement. That's the whole goal. Strength training is a little different, but for muscle size, it's all about how the muscle feels. So going into our bicep curl, last set of bicep curls. I'm trying to lift my pinky finger, so I'm not twisting towards the inside, I'm lifting straight up where my hands stay flat the whole time. If you're liking this workout and want to see more, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this. It also helps support the channel, so thank you very much. If you're wanting a set of 2 bands like the ones I have an affiliate link down below that will help support the channel. It won't cost you any extra though. I've tried a lot of different bands and I found these are the Black Mountain resistance bands. They have lasted me a long time and I find that they've got a good tension to them. So some of the bands I've bought have not had a good resistance, where it says it's 30 pounds and I can lift it with one hand easily, where it's like, it is not 30 pounds. So these I think are really good deal if you're looking for a set like what I have. But if you have a set of 2 bands that work well for you, I'm here to help show you how to use them effectively. So I'm shifting to a lighter band. We're gonna end with lateral raises. If you're liking this live stream and want to see more, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I'm stepping into the middle of the band and then crossing in front so that it pulls at an angle inwards. From here, staying straight and tall, Gonna lift out to the sides, working that middle deltoid right here that broadens out those shoulders. So I'm trying to keep my shoulders down away from my ears, lifting up to the sides like I'm making a snow angel. It might feel more on one side than the other. All right, so that's our workout for today. Hope to see you guys on Friday. Have a good one.